Do this.
Good day, inspired listeners. I am Stacey Fleece here with Samantha Tradelius as always, and it is a good day to be inspired. Samantha, how are you today?
You know what? I am doing great, and I'm actually very thrilled about the season of Inspired because one hit after another, we are bringing the good stuff to the people out there. I mean, today is no different. As we mentioned before, there are two things that people are most afraid of in life. One is dying, and the other is public speaking. And today, we're going to learn how we can be better at it.
Yeah, we're not going to learn how to be better at dying. We're going to take that one out of the mix, and I am going to try to spend the next 30 minutes not feeling judged every time I speak because there is a little bit of that may happen. But I'm super excited because we have with us today Alison Deyette, who is well, first of all, you're CEO of Alison Deyette Media, but you do media training in all different kind of aspects. So I don't care if you're doing a podcast, if you're doing a keynote, if you're doing content creation, like Allison's going to hook you up so you can not actually just reach your audience, but you can actually inspire your audience. And I think that's something we could all use. I know I could definitely use it. I'm trying to be inspiring, and I don't know, maybe it's falling flat. But Allison, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So
And
you
uh and
you have
thanks for
spent
the intro.
time on both sides of the camera. You have a really deep background in media and in journalism and in on camera, off camera um, messaging, the whole thing. So give us a little background on how you even got into this.
Well, I mean, ultimately, the platform today is about how can I help you shine and say it better, no matter what the spotlight, however it's coming on you, no matter what the platform is. But it initially started, I was an editor, a beauty and fashion director, and journalist for magazines out of New York City. They were national publications. I was fortunate enough that when I was in college, I knew that I wanted to be a writer and editor for magazines. I knew my place was New York City. I had direction and focus. I was luckily already published for various publications when I was at college. And I went in with that portfolio and I was like, damn it, I'm fabulous. You should know about me. I was confident from the start. I was a bit, you could say, give me the better job, the better position from the very beginning. In magazine land, when you start out, you are offered generally an editorial position. Yeah, get the coffee, filing, all that stuff. And I said no. I said, no, I will be an assistant editor. And I want my first article to be offered within, my first assignment to be in 3 months. The editor in chief of a brand new publication offered me the job on the spot, said yes, assistant editor. And I got my first assignment within a month. And then I had my own column interviewing celebrities every month.
So I feel like this is
So,
lesson number one, which has nothing to do with media training or on-camera coaching, but
no, it's about
let's just
freaking
pause for
being
a
kick
second.
ass, Stacey.
It is about confidence, going in with confidence.
Yes.
And as we've said many times, you do not need to be legit to start. Uh,
Right. Yes.
you just need to have the confidence and the courage to go in and ask for it. And shit, that worked for you.
It did. I mean, I luckily did have the backup to say, this is why. I'm not certain how I had the instinct to say, no, I want this, but I'm damn proud I did because that initially set me off on a path that I continually asked for opportunity
Mhm.
to move up within various magazine publications. And I was willing to work hard, work longer hours to receive that opportunity. And that led me to just inspire other, particularly women, to say, ask for what you want, boast about yourself. I will tell you the majority of my work, I would probably say at least 90% of what I do is supporting, encouraging, and helping people boast about themselves. Of the reason you've been asked to step on the stage and deliver a keynote speech is because you are the expert in this field and you know what you're talking about. Now we just need to put you in that position that you're so effortless walking around and sharing the knowledge and connecting with your audience. And it does happen primarily with women. that I am telling you, give yourself the permission to say out loud to others, I'm very good at what I do. And
Women
that's why people are
have such
coming
a
to
hard
me.
time, number one, talking about their headline, who they are, what they bring to the table,
Yep.
asking for what they want, and then like just what
Yep.
you're saying, stepping on stage and like, yeah, like I'm here because X, Y, and Z. I mean, that's
Right.
very difficult. And I don't know why it's so difficult. And some people just got it and they could
It's
do
because
it.
it's been programmed. We have had decades and decades of how it's been programmed into a woman to be nice, to be accommodating, to let others shine. And now that we are finally taking more leadership roles, now we have to set aside and find, distance ourselves from that internal emotional, ooh, I don't know. And now take that lead and say, even if it's emotionally regulating or compartmentalizing those moments, but to say, okay, I'm going to distance myself from the emotional attachments of this because it's better for me to make business decisions, collaborate with my team, network, or with some of my CEOs, they're having to bring in millions of dollars to their company. And you have to get rid of the nervousness, the anxiety, the stress of it, because you're in such a tall leadership role that it won't work if you don't set that aside.
Okay, but
So
you can't just shut
sometimes,
off. You can't just shut it off. This is not a
no,
light switch.
no.
Yeah.
No,
So,
it's not like I don't just tell it to you once. The reason why people hire me is because it's not just a one and done situation. It takes progression through various sessions and of kind of reinvigorating it, instilling it, and being supportive with a person. I mean, I have people who break down crying with me over that, or how do I say this to someone without hurting their feelings, or how do I take the lead? And so it's not a one and done kind of situation, which is why people don't come to me and like, oh, can we take care of this in 2 hours? And it's like,
Mm-mm.
no, you won't get the tools and the skill set for it unless you invest in yourself. And that's what a lot of it is, and investing in yourself, which then in turn can be like, yeah, I'm kicking ass here. I've got a new team. I'm collaborating. I'm moving to a higher C-suite position, or I am suddenly got booked on 10 podcasts because people recognize what is my message.
And getting clear on your message, right? That's, I think, the hardest
Yes,
part for people
the
because
clarity.
for a lot of us women, we all do different things. And I struggled with this for a very long time. Like, what is my brand? Like, who am I? I'm this person when I walk in this room and this person when I walk in this room. But actually, I'm all this cool shit. Like, how do you present yourself
Right.
with all these different things to meet like every different moment that you're trying to meet? And I think that is something that is, you know, challenging for a lot of, professional people doing a lot of things.
Sure. Yeah, it's that message clarity, and it can be dependent on the situation. I mean, here talked about how I started in magazines. I was very fortunate at a time in magazines. I got to travel all over the world directing shoots, interviewing hundreds of celebrities and CEOs, and writing all different kinds of articles, which then led to producers on TV shows coming to me and saying, "Hey, can we have you put you in a regular spot on the Today Show or Good Morning America or The View?" To then having producers saying, I need a host of this national TV show. I want you to be the host. To then being able to deliver that messaging that brands came to me and said, how do we be like you? A conversational tone, engaging, fun, lighthearted, or serious on TV. How can you translate that and help our people? And I used to joke and say, no, I'm not Jane of all trades. I've got this and this and this. And then people would try to put me, like you're talking about, Samantha, in that little niche. Like, no, you have to be this one thing. And I said, no, 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 no. We women, we are not only multitaskers in our personal lives, but we are multitaskers in our professional lives. And it's important we embrace it. So my message clarity comes down to who is my audience at that time?
Yes.
Even when you're introducing yourself, you tell like, what am I doing presently, what is my destination, and then add in the background that is relevant to your audience at that time. So I could talk TV with one person and we're going to focus more about that. Another person, I could be talking about editorial. I could be working with a huge global fashion brand, and I'm going to bring in my expertise of having been a fashion director in magazines. So I implement all those various like Jane of all trade moments, but I focus it based on the client or the present project.
So what do you say to the gal? Because, all of us kind of live in a world where we're in front, we get it. Like we've learned how to compartmentalize the different moments that we're trying to adhere to. But for the person who's number one, super terrified to get up in front of talking, maybe is brilliant at their job and
Right.
like incredible, but the fact of getting up in front of a group of people more than five and talking is terrifying. And then also being so terrified that they can't even begin to think about how to compartmentalize and understand the room and understand
Right.
the assignment. So like how do you help someone just even like hit the button and go, okay, here's the roadmap, girl. Like how does that even work?
Yeah. Yeah. I identify a lot of that is what I call like racing brain syndrome, where what's going on in your head doesn't come out of your mouth properly, or you're filling lots of space because you feel like, oh my God, I can't have silence. I can't take a breath because I got to fill that space because people are expecting me to talk. And then they get that litter language of the like, and so a lot of it, first off, let's just breathe and take a breath. Let's take a pause. We formulate that first. What are the triggers that might lead to you getting nervous, spewing too much, not taking a breath, or not speaking well enough, or your volume or your cadence or your pitch is not varied enough? And then we start thinking, what are you saying? What is the message? And we work on that a lot. How do you deliver it? And it's not necessarily, unless it's a TED talk, it's not about memorizing it. It's about learning the details so well because again, you are the expert in your field. You know this knowledge so well that that's why you've been asked to speak, that we talk about each time. And each time it's a little tweaked because I want you to now deliver it like a story. And when it's a story as opposed to a speech, it takes away less of the stigma to it. And then I tell people we have to stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about your audience, who you're serving. Why are you telling them the story? Because it's about connection. It's about going to serve them where they say, oh my God, what Stacey said was so inspiring. I love that story. I really connected. Or I went through something similar. Or I've got to share that story because I think my girlfriend is involved in activism and that's such a good story for her to hear. So it's about turning the mindset of it's not about me, it's about who my audience is and serving them. And sometimes that will take a little bit of the butterflies away. I also say let's get physical before you step on a stage. First, the breathing. Let's do some various breathing to calm down that adrenaline flow. I have even told people if you've got the space, do some wall push-ups, do a few standing lunges, because a lot of the butterflies is an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
You get so hopped up. So if we can breathe and be a little physical in our space before you walk out on the stage, that will help kind of regulate you, bring you down a little bit. And it's the practice. I've had way too many people, CEOs, who their teams will say they need the training. And the CEO will be like, I got this. And then when I've seen what they've done in the past, I was like, you didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
You, quite frankly, were lazy. You didn't practice. You didn't rehearse what you wanted to say. And the biggest tip I give to people is when you practice, you have to speak out loud. Plenty of people write a speech. I said, writing a speech is very different than speaking because we don't speak, we speak in contractions. Like I wouldn't. You don't necessarily like, I would do this and I cannot do this. You're like, I wouldn't, I can't. So you think about how you actually speak it, and then you want to feel the words come out of your mouth because that's where you get a sense of, oh, do I want to speak softly because I want people to lean in? Is this a little more serious? Or I'm like, oh, girl, I've got to tell you this story. Now it's lighthearted and it's fun and engaging. And by speaking out loud, you feel the words in your mouth. And sometimes by just speaking your speech aloud, you learn, oh, those three words together are very difficult to actually say so clearly and easily when I'm speaking them out loud. It's easy to read. And that's why the rehearsal. I tell people if they have dogs or kids, still in strollers, put on your earbuds, headphones, take a walk, and say it out loud. Practice it out loud while you're walking. And it won't matter because when people pass you by, they think you're on the phone. So I said, I said, I said, take a walk outside, walk the dog, go with put your kid in the stroller and say things out loud. And then when you feel like, oh, because, again, it's like when you put your hand on your head and your hand in your stomach and you're talking and see if you can do more than one thing at the same time. That's what it sets in practice. And then I tell people delivered to your bathroom mirror because then you see what you look like while you're talking. Like, do you look kind of weird? Like your face scrunching? Can I even detect a smile on your face when you're saying something fun? Do I look like I'm anxious while I'm delivering this message? So I say, talk in your mirror. All of these things, people come back to me saying, that is so weird, Alison. That's so awkward. I'm like, I don't care. If you don't do it now and get over that
What's going to be
awkward,
awkward
weird,
is when you're
anxious
up there on the
moment.
stage and you blow
Exactly.
it, right?
I'm feeling like I've made every one of these
Exactly.
mistakes at
We
some
all
point
have.
or another. So,
Yeah.
and you work with CEOs, you work with professional athletes who have to get in front of the media and obviously do that training. But in this day and age, when there's so much content being made and it's free to put it out, and
Yep.
there's, every man, your next door neighbor, your sister, whatever.
Yes.
Everybody can go make a 30-second video or a 5-minute YouTube short or what have you. And most of us are not going to have this training. So I don't know if this is going to be a tough question, but when you see content like that created, like what do you find that are the biggest mistakes people are making that are preventing them from actually getting their message to who they want it to be in front of?
They don't have the focus. I mean, there's a few things. One, they're not focusing on what their message is, and they're not even thinking about what they wanted to say, how they wanted to present themselves ahead. Like, it does not have to take much time to just say, what do I really want to say right now? Give yourself a moment, the grace and permission. You don't have to rush. Sometimes write out what you want to say it out loud, say, is that what I want to say? And then put yourself on video. And a lot of people add my girlfriend calls it word salad, the the and so. And if you can help diminish that, then it doesn't become distracting from your story. And I come up with good questions of what people might ask you. I mean, I'm not going to certainly diminish like the fun light-hearted videos that you just want to share. But if you are trying to propel yourself forward in your career, your position, your brand, your message, you have to give yourself a little time to think about what are you sharing? How will it help you? If you're just sharing for sheer sake because you have nothing better to do, that's a whole different plan. But I've helped influencers who have millions of followers and they're looking to say, sure, I've got millions of followers, but this will only last for so long. And we look for ways of how do we build and expand upon your career besides this kind of one note function you've been doing? How can we create digital series that people will follow? For a podcast, it's for newbies. Like, what is your interview structure? What are you asking? Who are going to be your guests? Why would people tune in and
Mhm.
stay tuned in? Like, sometimes it's what's that hook initially and how did you kick off the interview? So it's just, people need to take a little time and take a breath and just say, what is my purpose?
How do
Yeah.
you
I
And
think
like,
most of us are looking for purpose.
How do you balance between the practice and the training versus coming off still as authentic you? Because I feel like sometimes, like when you watch a video and someone's practiced too much,
that
it
is
sucks,
not
if I'm
great.
Sure.
being honest.
Yeah. 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 I will admit in some cases that does come from experience of knowing when to like, I do sound like I over rehearsed.
Yeah.
But I think people forget the stories connect the best. And I will do deep conversations with people in interviews when I say, listen, I know you're sharing a message, but is there a story that propelled you behind it? What did you learn from it? Like if someone started asking me my stories of what I did, the good, the bad, what worked, what didn't, um, I would share. I mean, one of my key moments in television, which initially started, there were two moments. I was sharing a TV hosting gig with another woman. People wanted to kind of move her out, and she said on live television talking about product, oh yeah, this has this and this and formaldehyde, that's great. And I was like, oh my God, that is not great. And I had to figure out a way to save it and move away. I cursed on live television once, and
Nice.
Excellent.
I said something was shitty chic on on San Francisco news television in the morning,
I love that.
and the anchor looked at me. It was a guy, such shock, and I immediately said, "You know what I mean, city chic," and I just kept on going because
Yeah.
it was like I didn't want an FCC violation.
Yeah.
But I've had moments where I've had foibles and flaws, but I instinctually said, "Oh, I got to save that. I got to move on from that and laugh and just kind of have like a laughing moment and be willing to, retain my space."
Well, we talk a
So
lot about authenticity. Oh, I mean, I feel like every conversation I've been having lately is about like being your truest, authentic self. Because yes,
yeah,
knowing your shit, being on top of your shit, and being the authority of the conversation,
Oh,
yes.
shit.
But also being like, I'm just Sam, right? So I'm wild, I'm crazy, I
yeah,
got nails, I say the F word a lot, and here's what I bring to the table. And have fun with it because I think that is what really does attract you a lot more to the
yes,
whatever audience you're
yes,
attracting.
totally.
And then the other part of like, so I run a nonprofit, and so a lot of the stuff that I post is about. I just posted one before we got on here today. I got to have a hook, I got to have a why, I got to have a call to action, and a timeline. Like, and those are the every single time I post something,
Yeah,
that's the way I do it. And I, maybe record the video and it takes me two or three tries, and it doesn't need to be perfect, but like it's boom, boom, boom,
right.
45 seconds and you're on to the next, right? And I think when you're posting
Yeah,
on the social media, I mean, just having that menu for people that are doing it can really help
right,
get over the fear and also project the message that you're trying to look for, right?
right. And Sam, I mean, just the fact that you said why as your second reason, that's so important. It's the why. It's the why is why people connect, why they
Yes.
listen, why it works for them. If you're just doing, I do this, people don't care. So why are people connecting? Which is when I am on a stage or somewhere else, I share stories
Yep.
because I want other people and I collaborate with people. Like when I work with uh, a large group of athletes every few months, or when I work with musicians, I work with this one organization that they have 45 different singer-songwriters, and I've helped two get on The Voice, and I've helped one get on America's Got Talent. And part of my thing is why, besides your absolute amazing talent on stage, would people be interested in you? It's your stories. And they have the stories, but we develop them in a way that's easy to share, that people are like, oh, not only are they a great singer, but I want to follow them and support them by voting for them because of that story. And it could be one of my musicians, her father died young of Alzheimer's, and we talked about that. Another one, unfortunately, had been attacked, and we talk about that, but talk about not in an exploitive way, but in a way that people say, look at their resilience, look at how they've come back, look at how they're commanding a stage now, and I
Mhm.
really want to root for them. So it's the why that becomes so important.
So do men in your expertise, do men have more issues or do women have more issues? Like when people are coming to you, is it more men or is it more women?
Uh, I certainly made you train more women
Yep.
because more women are willing to be vulnerable and willing to recognize a want and a need for the services to say, I believe I need this in order to continue. Men who come to me recognize the need and they might be more about, well, I want to say this. And I'll say, nobody cares about that.
Thank
let's
you.
let's go back to who would really care about this product or your brand or your company. And sometimes there's a little friction on changing the wording, um I have had some male clients who say, I'm surprised they're choosing to put me in the spotlight. And then when we start talking, I'm like, oh, Guy, you have so many great stories that would really work for people. And you should really share that. And I think it's just because they're so used to being in the background. Not that they know they're incredibly talented,
Hmm.
but they've never been given that platform. It's the women, though, I have to push to boast. I will say that. And I
Women
will say, when
don't
it
have
comes
that
to, I will,
self-confidence.
excuse me?
Women don't have that self-confidence. As a general
Yeah,
rule, women don't
right.
have that self-confidence.
And you know what, Stacey, what I also find is when it comes to someone will say, oh God, Allison, I delivered that speech or I was on that podcast or something. You were in my head the whole time and I felt so good. I landed it. And I was like, oh my God, that's so lovely. Hey, you want to write about it? You want to thank me? Something. And they're like, totally. Guys will come to me and say, I did such a great job, or they gave me the promotion. Thanks so much. All your tools really worked for me. I would love to write a review. And then they don't. And I think
Oh,
it's
it was
because guys
amazing.
guys don't want to kind of accredit, people who maybe just actually say out loud, I needed some help. Yeah.
Well, I
And I'm
think
like, all right,
I
that's
mean, I
good.
go to a ton of, I'm in insurance as my day job. So I go to a lot of different, chats and conversations, and nothing irritates me more when you get, Bruce on stage in his khaki pants and he's just talking about, how he's just makes all this money and and, you're just sitting there and you're like, God, like he needs an Allison to help him
Right.
tell a better story. You know what I mean? Because we've all heard this
Right.
story one too many times,
Yeah.
and it's exhausting.
Hmm.
The
Um,
confidence is there, but the
Yep.
messaging is
Absolutely.
well, it's just like it's again like it's
Right.
not hitting, and I think being on stage and having that like responsibility and also ability to project and to help people be better, faster, and stronger in whatever we're trying to accomplish here. Like think it through, right? And really make it
Right.
very much intentional about what you're doing on stage. Allison Day, we cannot say thank you enough. You've got, the media training, the brand strategy, the on-camera and the public speaking, which again, still many people have their battles with. And now we know where we can turn. We will put your website and your LinkedIn and some different ways for our listeners to get a hold of you. We can't say thanks enough, and we hope that everybody this day, this year, this month gets out there and is inspired.